Are you dreaming of moving abroad, living abroad, sipping coffee in a colonial plaza, or retiring on a beach in the Caribbean or in the Pacific, where your dollar stretches further than you can ever dream of? In this video, I'll be breaking down the best 25 countries for Americans to immigrate to, whether you are planning to retire or live off your passive income. We're talking visas, paths to citizenship, healthcare, taxes, and so much more. And we'll be organizing these countries by region so you can find your ideal destination. Stay tuned.
So I left the matrix,
and my money just tripled. I had a good time and it cost me a little, so I found peace, tranquility, faith in my abilities.
I couldn't fake no more, so I left the matrix.
Now, the first region is the Americas. So let's head over to Ecuador. Ecuador has the rentista or pensionado visa for retirees, which will require roughly $1,350 a month. The cost of living is between $1,200 and $1,500 a month. For healthcare, there's both public and private, and that will run you between $50 to $150 a month for private insurance. For citizenship, it will take you roughly 7 years to get citizenship, but you could get there faster depending on your situation. Of course, you will need to know basic Spanish for this citizenship. Now, the pros for Ecuador is that Ecuador is a hub for expats, especially in the towns of Cuenca, Loja, and the big city of Quito. Now, personally, I lived in Ecuador. I enjoyed it, and I would definitely recommend Ecuador for those who are interested in being in Ecuador or in the South American region. From Ecuador, let's head to Central America, to the beautiful country of Belize. Now, Belize is a small Central American Caribbean country. It's not as developed as most of the other countries on this list. However, it is a good option for those who want peace and tranquility. Now, for the visa, they offer the QRP program, which requires you to earn at least $2,000 per month of income. Now, the cost of living is between $1,500 and $2,000 per month. Healthcare is limited, but at a low cost. So if you want any serious procedures, you would definitely find yourself heading to the nearby country of Mexico. Now, for citizenship, it will take you 5 years to get citizenship in Belize. Keep in mind that you do not have to learn another language, because if you're listening to this video, chances are you speak English, and English is the official language in Belize. Now, people love Belize because it has that laid-back Caribbean lifestyle, and also it is probably a softer landing for those folks who are coming from an English-speaking country such as Canada or the United States. For now, from Belize, let's head back to South America to the beautiful country of Peru. Now, Peru is a popular destination for expats because it has the rentista visa, which only requires you to earn between $1,000 and $2,000 per month. Now, the cost of living is between $1,000 and $1,300 a month. Healthcare, especially private healthcare, is very affordable, is high quality. Now, for citizenship, it will take you 2 years to get citizenship, which makes Peru one of the fastest countries to go to for citizenship. You are required to know Spanish, and like most of the countries on this list, dual citizenship is allowed. Now, the pros of moving to Peru is that it has that cultural richness. There is low cost, and Peru is such a diverse country where they have the desert on the coast, the high mountains in the middle of the country, and the Amazon jungle on the eastern part of the country. And in this country, there is something for everyone. Now, from Peru, let's head a little bit to the south towards Argentina. Now, Argentina is one of the more popular countries for expats because it also offers an easy rentista visa, which only requires you to earn $2,000 per month. The cost of living is between $1,000 and $1,400 a month. Again, that depends on your lifestyle and where you're living. Now, the healthcare is top tier for private healthcare, and it is very affordable. Now, for citizenship, just like Peru, it only requires you to be a resident of Argentina for 2 years. So after 2 years, you can apply for citizenship. And Argentina is one of those countries that allows dual citizenship, but you cannot renounce your citizenship once you are an Argentinian citizen. Now, the pros is that Argentina is fairly affordable. However, the cost of living has been going up since the new president has came in, and prices are increasing. Cost of living is increasing a little bit. So that is something to keep in mind if you are thinking about moving to Argentina. Now from Argentina, let's head next door to Chile. So Chile is a good option for those folks who are interested in living in South America because it is the most developed country in South America. The visa that it offers is for retirees or passive income earners, and that amount is roughly $2,000 to $2,500 a month. The cost of living is between $1,500 and $2,000 a month, again, depending on lifestyle and where you live. The healthcare, both public and private healthcare, is considered to be excellent and affordable. Now, as far as citizenship, it will take you between 5 and 7 years to get citizenship in Chile, depending on your situation. And you would definitely be required to know Spanish. And Chile allows for dual citizenship. Now, the pros of being in Chile is that it has political stability. It has modern infrastructure. It's one of those countries that is just beautiful. I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful country. And the wine is also very good. Now, from Chile, let's head over to Central America again, to the beautiful, beautiful country of Costa Rica. Now, Costa Rica is a very, very popular destination for expats. The Pensionado visa or the Rentista visa are the most commonly used visas. The Pensionado visa requires you to earn at least $1,000 per month, and the Rentista visa requires you to earn at least $2,500 a month. Now, the cost of living in Costa Rica is a little more expensive. It's between $1,800 to $2,200 a month. And that depends on where you live and your lifestyle, of course. Healthcare is very good. They have a public healthcare system and a private healthcare system. So for the most part, you should have no issues getting the healthcare that you need in Costa Rica. Now, for citizenship, it requires you to live in Costa Rica for 7 years. So if you want citizenship in Costa Rica, you will need to be in the country for 7 years. And it allows dual citizenship, and you will also need to know Spanish. The pros for being in Costa Rica is its biodiversity. I think this country does a very good job in blending city life and nature. What you'll also find is that this country has a strong expat community, so it would be no problem for you to find other expats like yourself in the country if that is something you look for. Now, from Costa Rica, we're going to head a little bit to the south to the beautiful country of Panama. Now, Panama is a popular country for expats as the Friendly Nations visa is one of the more popular visas that people tend to get when they move to Panama, and that requires you to have a minimal amount of income every month. They also have the Pensionado visa for pensioners, which only requires you to earn $1,000 per month. Now, the cost of living in Panama is a little bit lower, but around the same ballpark as Costa Rica, which is between $1,500 and $2,000 per month. Again, Panama uses the US dollar, so it'll be easy for you to make the transition from the United States. And keep in mind that because it uses the US dollar, there are no foreign transaction fees. In addition, the healthcare is world class. Panama has some of the best healthcare in the region. So whatever procedures you have or need, you should have no issues in Panama. In addition, Panama requires you to be in the country for at least 5 years before applying for citizenship. And even though Panama has had some issues with the process in the past years, that Panama has been making some improvements in the recent months. The pros for Panama is centrally located between North America and South America and the Caribbean. So it's one of those centrally located countries where if you want to be able to get from one country or the other, it's well connected through Panama City. In addition, this country has a solid expat community. A lot of folks go to Panama because it is modern, it's one of the more modern countries in the region. And also they use the US dollar, so you don't have to think in some other currency. And it's also well connected and very welcoming to foreigners, especially those of us from the United States. Now from Panama, let's go to the south just a little bit to Colombia, the beautiful country of Colombia. Now, I must admit, I lived in some of these other countries on this list, but not Colombia, but I absolutely love Colombia. I visited Colombia numerous times. It's one of the more diverse countries in the region. You have the Pacific, you have the Caribbean/Atlantic, you have English-speaking islands, you have the mountains, you have the jungle, you have the beautiful jungle coast on the Pacific and the nice beaches. I mean, this place has it all. It literally has it all. So for Colombia, they have the rentista or the pensionado visa, which requires you to earn between $800 and $1,000 per month. These visas are broken down to different categories. If you are a passive income earner, there is a visa for you. Now, the cost of living for Colombia is between $1,200 and $1,500 a month. That could vary depending on your lifestyle and where you live. Now, the healthcare is excellent in Colombia. Colombia is one of the more developed, one of the better countries to go to for healthcare. You'll find that a lot of folks from more expensive countries will tend to come to Colombia for medical tourism because whether it's dental work or any kind of surgery that's quite expensive in a country like the US, people tend to go to Colombia to get that surgery because Colombia is top notch for its healthcare and very affordable. Now, for citizenship, Colombia only requires you to be in country between 5 to 7 years before you can apply for citizenship. Again, it depends on the type of visa and your situation. But if you're from a Latin American or Caribbean country, that will be shortened to 2 years. And you will definitely need to know Spanish, and Colombia does allow dual citizenship. Now, the pros for being in Colombia, it's a beautiful country. It has a lot to offer. It has something for everyone. It is very, very affordable. Now, from Colombia, let's head to the Caribbean, to the beautiful country of the Dominican Republic. Now, the Dominican Republic has 2 visas that may interest you, and those visas are the pensionado visa or the rentista visa, which requires you to have a monthly income of $1,500 or $2,000. Now, the cost of living in the Dominican Republic is between $1,200 to $2,000, depending on where you live and your lifestyle. You'll find that the healthcare in the Dominican Republic, at least for the private sector, is very good. For the public sector, it's available, but the private sector is better and it's affordable. You'll probably spend around $100 per month for your private healthcare. That is what I spend in the Dominican Republic currently. Now, for citizenship in the Dominican Republic is 7 years, but it can be fast-tracked depending on your situation. If you are a pensioner, it can be fast-tracked to 2 years. If you are married to a Dominican, it can be fast-tracked for 2 years. And if you go through the process, you will get your citizenship. I'm proof of that. I'm a Dominican citizen now. I went through the process. After I applied, I got my citizenship fairly quickly. The good thing about being a Dominican citizen is that the Dominican Republic allows you to have dual citizenship and you're only required to know basic Spanish. The pros of being in the Dominican Republic is that it's a really laid-back lifestyle. You have that laid-back Caribbean relaxed lifestyle. At the same time, you still have big cities like Santiago and Santo Domingo and Punta Cana, which has everything you will want. In addition, the Dominican Republic is centrally located between North America, Central, and South America, and it's also a gateway to Europe. So I feel like this is one of the more centrally located countries in the Western Hemisphere. So whether you're leaving out of Las Americas International Airport in Santo Domingo, or you're leaving out of the Punta Cana International Airport in Punta Cana, you'll be able to get anywhere in the world quickly. Now, from the Dominican Republic, let's go over to Mexico. Mexico is another beautiful country. It is huge. It has something for everyone. For the visa in Mexico, the temporary residency visa only requires you to earn roughly between $2,700 and $3,000 a month, depending on which consulate you go through. And you can double that for permanent residency. And again, that depends on which consulate you go to. Each consulate dictates the required amount for you to earn to get the temporary residency or permanent residency. Now, the cost of living in Mexico is between $1,200 and $2,000 a month, depending on where you live and your lifestyle. Healthcare, the public healthcare sector you can go into, it's a little cheaper, but wait times are long. So if you plan on moving to Mexico, I would recommend you opt into one of the private healthcare plans. You'll pay roughly $100 a month. Now, citizenship in Mexico is 5 years. The path is 5 years to citizenship in Mexico. However, that can be shortened, just like in Colombia, if you are a Latin American or Caribbean citizen. It can be shortened to 2 years. Now, the pros of living in Mexico is the proximity to the United States, if you're from the United States, or Canada, if you're from Canada. At the same time, you're still in a country where it has a lot of diverse regions, a lot to do. The desert, it has the semi-desert, high altitude region in central Mexico. You also have the jungles in the Yucatan, many beaches, a lot to offer. This country is very diverse. I am definitely satisfied in my decision in becoming a resident of Mexico. Now, from Mexico, we're going to head over to the continent of Africa. And the first stop in the continent of Africa is South Africa. Now, South Africa offers a retirement visa that requires you to earn at least $2,800 a month. The cost of living is between $1,200 and $1,800 a month. The healthcare is affordable and good quality, especially for the private healthcare sector. The path to citizenship is roughly 5 years, and South Africa does allow for dual citizenship. The cons of being in South Africa is that some areas present some safety concerns, but this country is so beautiful, it's so diverse, there's so much to do. The country is huge, and this is one of the countries on the continent that has a little bit of something for everyone. Now, from South Africa, let's head over to the Atlantic, and we're going to Cape Verde. Now, Cape Verde is one of the least talked about African countries, in my opinion. The temporary residence visa just requires proof of income, so that can be from passive income or retiree. The amount is roughly $2,000 a month that you'll need to earn to get the visa. The cost of living is between $1,000 and $1,400 a month. The healthcare the routine healthcare is very basic, but if you need more attention, more complicated procedures, you'll definitely need to hop over to Portugal. And the good thing about Cape Verde is there are many direct flights to Portugal, because Cape Verde being a formal Portuguese colony and they speak Portuguese, so therefore they have a close connection to Portugal. Now, for citizenship, the path to citizenship is just 5 years, and Cape Verde does allow dual citizenship. And you'll need to know a little bit of Portuguese in order to qualify. Now, the pros of being in Cape Verde is the islands. The islands are beautiful. I mean, it's a beautiful island chain just off the coast of Africa. Very beautiful. You have that rich African and Portuguese mixed influence, and the place is beautiful. I think this place is really one of the most least talked about jewels of Africa. I think many more folks should take a look at Cape Verde. Now, from Cape Verde, we're going to head over to West Africa, to the beautiful country of the Gambia. Now, the Gambia is a small slither of a country that surrounds the Gambian River, and this is a popular spot for many expats coming from the United States. And the basic residency permit only requires proof of income, and that amount is
Wake up!
Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Come on.
$1,500 per month. Now, the cost of living is between $800 and $1,200 a month. The healthcare is very basic, but if you need more serious healthcare, you will definitely need to consider going abroad. Now, the path to citizenship is just 5 years. The pros of being in the Gambia is that many people in the Gambia speak English. It has a vibrant culture. It has beaches. It has, and though it's a small country, it's close to many other countries within West Africa. So if you plan on moving around in West Africa, like the Senegal and Sierra Leone, etc., the Gambia will be a good place to be at to be moving around within that region. Now, from the Gambia, we're going to leave West Africa and head over to East Africa, to the beautiful country of Kenya. Now, Kenya is one of the more popular countries in the African continent for expats, and they offer a retiree or a Class K visa for self-sufficient persons. So if you're a passive income earner or a retiree, you can definitely get one of these visas for Kenya. Now, the cost of living in Kenya is between $1,200 and $1,700 a month. But again, it depends on your lifestyle and where you live. Healthcare in Nairobi is very good. Nairobi is the capital in one of the more progressive cities in the African continent. However, if you live outside of Nairobi, you might want to consider going to Nairobi for all your healthcare needs. Now, the path to citizenship in Kenya is roughly 7 years, and you will definitely need to know a little bit of Swahili for that citizenship. The pros of being in Kenya: Kenya is one of the fastest growing economies in the African continent, and definitely the hotspot in East Africa. There are a lot of wildlife reservations. Now, we are leaving the African continent and we're heading over to Asia and Oceania. Now, just a quick note. Africa and Asia are the two regions where you will find less retiree visas, passive income earner visas. These regions tend to be a little more closed off. Many of these countries in these two regions do not offer a path to citizenship. Just keep that in mind. So here in Asia and Oceania, let's head to the small yet beautiful island of Fiji. Now, Fiji has an investor visa and a retiree visa. So these are two options for those who are retirees / passive income earners. The cost of living in Fiji is between $1,500 and $2,000 per month. The healthcare is limited, so you can get your basic and routine care in Fiji, but if you need any serious procedures, you will have to head to somewhere else in Southeast Asia or in Australia. Now, the path to citizenship is just 5 years, and dual citizenship is allowed in Fiji. And the pros of being in Fiji is that it has a laid-back lifestyle. It's like a melting pot of cultures because it has that Polynesian / Melanesian / Indian mix, Southeast Asian mix. So therefore, it's a melting pot. I have not met one person who's been to Fiji who has not enjoyed Fiji. Now from Fiji, let's head over to the next island, and that is Vanuatu. Now, Vanuatu is a popular destination for expats, but particularly for retirees and passive income earners, there's a retirement visa. The cost of living in Vanuatu is between $1,500 and $2,200 a month. The healthcare is basic, so you can get your basic routine healthcare there, but if you need any major care, major procedures, it's recommended that you go to another country in the regions, one of the countries in Southeast Asia or Australia. Now, citizenship in Vanuatu is 10 years. That's the path, 10 years. However, it can be fast-tracked with the Citizenship by Investment program. The pros for being in Vanuatu: English is spoken in Vanuatu, and also Vanuatu is very close to other English-speaking places such as Australia and New Zealand. Now let's leave Vanuatu and head east to the small but beautiful island of Tonga. Now Tonga has a retiree residency visa. The cost of living in Tonga is between $1,200 and $1,600. The healthcare, again, basic. You can get your routine healthcare there, but for anything that's major, you will definitely need to head over to Southeast Asia or Australia. Now, the path to citizenship in Tonga is 5 years. Tonga allows for dual citizenship, and the pros for living in Tonga is that Tonga is very safe. It's a friendly culture, very welcoming society there. So from Tonga, let's head over to Southeast Asia, to the country of Indonesia, specifically Bali. The retirement visa is called the KITAS visa, and that requires you to earn at least $1,500 per month. And the cost of living for Bali is between $1,200 and $1,700 a month. Again, that is based on your lifestyle and where you live. The healthcare in Bali is very good, at least for the private clinics. So you should be able to get all your major healthcare done in Bali. Now, the path to citizenship is a difficult process in Indonesia. You'll need to know the local language, and the wait time is roughly 10 years. So you need to be a resident of Indonesia for 10 years before you can apply for citizenship. But again, it's complicated. You need to know the local language, and it does not allow for dual citizenship. Now, the good thing about being in Bali, it has a strong expat community. It's very laid back. It's affordable. It's beautiful. And it is not a hotspot for so many foreigners for no reason. So now we're leaving Bali, and let's head over to the nearby island of the Philippines. Now, the Philippines is very, very popular amongst expats. It has the SRRV visa for retirees, and it only requires you to deposit $10,000 in a Filipino bank. And in addition to that, you have to earn at least $800 per month. Now, the cost of living is between $1,000 and $1,500 per month. The healthcare is good in Manila and in Cebu, but outside of that, healthcare is good for basic routine healthcare, but for any major procedures, you would definitely want to head to Cebu or Manila. Now, the path to citizenship is 10 years. The Philippines does not allow for dual citizenship. The pros of being in the Philippines in that it is a predominantly Tagalog and English-speaking country, so most of the people in the country are bilingual. So now we're leaving Asia and we're heading over to Europe and its overseas territories, and the first stop will be Finland. Now, Finland has the D visa, or residence based on income visa, and that visa requires you to earn roughly $4,500 per month. Now, the cost of living in Finland is between $2,000 and $2,500 per month. The healthcare is excellent. The path to citizenship is between 4 to 7 years, depending on your situation. And for citizenship, you're required to know at least the B1 level of Swedish or Finnish. Now, the pros for living in Finland is extremely safe. And it's also one of those more high functional societies to where things are fairly organized. Things tend to work in Finland. The con is that it gets very cold in the winter. And also, people say that the Finnish take a little bit more time to warm up to you. So initially, they may be a little cold, but with time, they will warm up to you. So that is the con to living in Finland. Now, from Finland, let's head over to Germany. Now, Germany, quick note, there are many options in Europe. However, I'm going to focus on only the countries that have the fastest route to citizenship. So with Germany, there is a freelancer self-support visa, which requires you to earn around $4,000 per month. And the cost of living in Germany is between $2,000 and $2,800 per month. The healthcare is universal healthcare. And the path to citizenship is between 5 to 8 years, depending on your situation. It does require B1 level of German. Germany only recently allowed dual citizenship. Now, the pros to living in Germany is that Germany has great infrastructure, is centrally located in Europe. Let's head over to Portugal. Now, Portugal has the D7 passive income visa, which requires around $900 per month of income. The cost of living in Portugal is between $1,500 and $2,000, depending on where you live and your lifestyle, of course. Now, Portugal has both public and private healthcare. The public healthcare is good, but they tend to have some wait times and it could be a little hassle getting an appointment. The path to citizenship in Portugal is 5 years, and it only requires A2 level of Portuguese. However, there are talks in the parliament in Portugal right now for the path to be changed from 5 years to 10 years. Now, Portugal was a top pick for retirees for its mild climate, its welcoming society, good food, great wine, and fairly quick path to citizenship. Now, from Portugal, we're going to head over to Sweden. Now, Sweden is another beautiful Scandinavian country. The visa that they offer is a self-sufficient residency permit, and that requires you to earn around $4,500 per month. The cost of living is between $2,200 and $2,800 per month. The healthcare is excellent and it's public. The path to citizenship is 5 years, but you are required to know at least B1 level of Swedish. Now, the pros of living in Sweden is that it's a clean country with a high standard of living, a country that has historically been welcoming to immigrants, but Sweden is a good option for expats. Now, from Sweden, let's head over to France and its overseas territories of Saint Martin and New Caledonia. Now, with France, I want to not just focus on continental France, where you have Paris and Lyon. I also want you to take a look at other areas of France, specifically its overseas territories, such as Saint Martin, New Caledonia, Martinique, Guadeloupe, etc. So in France, there is a long stay visa that requires you to have sufficient income to apply for that visa. The cost of living is between $2,000 and $2,500 per month. Healthcare is universal healthcare and it's high quality. Now, citizenship, the path to citizenship is just 5 years in France, but it requires you to know B1 level of French. And there are talks to increasing that level of French required, which is B2. But right now, it's just the B1 level of French. Now, the pros of being in France is that you are part of the European Union, but you also have French territories outside of continental France. So if you don't want to be in the cold zone of continental Europe, then you can make your way to the Caribbean and some of the Caribbean destinations, such as Saint Martin, which shares the island with Saint Martin, which is a territory of the Netherlands. Or you can take a look at other islands such as Guadeloupe or Martinique, or you can go to the Pacific island of New Caledonia. So you have options when you're looking at France. So from France, we are going to make our way to the Netherlands. And also in the Netherlands, just like France, we are going to consider its overseas territories of Saint Martin and Curaçao. The visa that the Netherlands offer is basically the self-sufficient income visa, and the cost of living in the Netherlands is between $2,000 and $2,700 per month. The healthcare is good. The path to citizenship is just 5 years, and you only need to know A2 level of Dutch. Just the A2 level of Dutch. That is basic Dutch. But if you are living in Saint Martin, you will need to know the basic level of Dutch and basic English to qualify for citizenship after 5 years. So if you want Dutch citizenship, you'll have to renounce your prior citizenships. The beautiful thing about the Netherlands is that you actually have the continental area of the Netherlands, you know, Rotterdam, Amsterdam, but you also have the Caribbean options such as Aruba, Curaçao, Bonaire, and San Martin. Now, whether you're looking for a quiet beach, modern healthcare, or just an easy path to citizenship, there is something for everyone. But what I want to know is, what is your opinion on this list? Which country would you consider? Let me know your thoughts down below. Like, share, subscribe, and I hope to see you soon. Peace.